Hi everybody, my name is Megan Fielder. I'm the author and creator behind Algebra Elevated, where I love creating resources for teachers to save them time. Today, I want to talk about class numbers and why I am absolutely obsessed with using them with my students. And I didn't use them my first year, and I did my second, and I have not looked back for a minute. So I absolutely am obsessed with using class numbers for a ton of reasons, and I'm going to share those with you today. So the first thing that class numbers has really transformed for myself and my students is classroom organization. There's so many things that can be categorized by numbers that you could then label and save and identify easier throughout your day if you have them by numbers than putting individual students' names on them. Especially as a secondary teacher, I can't name everything with individual students, but I can give the students a number that corresponds to different things in my classroom. For example, easy one is my calculators. My calculators were numbered 1 through 30. I gave my students a number 1 through 30. Whatever number they are, they were using that calculator. Another easy one would be clipboards. For my scavenger hunt activities, I would allow them to use my clipboards, but I numbered them so they knew that they were supposed to use their number clipboard. Now you might be wondering why even bother with this step. It really helps when things go missing, get broken, or if things are just going wrong. It's a lot easier. A student might tell me, hey, my calculator's not working. I'll tell them I'll look at it after class. I forget which calculator they had, or the batteries were out, or something. I then can just look up their number and then find it very easy. Another thing that it helps with is just making sure you have everything. It's a lot easier to count 1 through 30 or whatever and figure out which number is missing than it is to figure out what student might have misplaced something. Another thing that helps with this class organization is requiring students to put their class number on tests, quizzes, assignments. Anything that you collect, or I collect, I require students to put their class number on, because then when I would normally alphabetize things to put them in the gradebook faster, I just numerically order their numbers, and it makes finding things, figuring out who didn't take the assignment, didn't turn in the assignment, and entering their grade in the gradebook just such an easier process that it's life-saving, time-saving. So that is a ton about class organization. The third thing with class organization is if you have a unique situation, which this one is more unique, I think, to me than everybody will face this, but I was required to hold on to our students' district assessments. So if you're required or if you choose to keep any of your student work in the classroom, having these class numbers really was helpful because I had a bin that students would put their work, and it was just numbered 1 through 30 for their individual hour. So then they could put their work in there, and I would know exactly where to find each individual students. This prevented me from relabeling that bin year after year with the different students. So then it kind of just helped keep it more of a lifelong system rather than a system I had to keep adjusting. Outside of class organization, student numbers can really help with class participation. So when I am talking in front of a class, if I need student volunteers, I might just call out numbers. Okay, student 5, 12, and 11. Give me your thoughts on this particular problem, or tell me how you solved it, or give me the answer. What'd you think? So then I can more randomly call out numbers and not intentionally call out individual students. Another thing that you could do even more randomly is there are a ton of like random number spinners or generators out there on the internet. You can tell it to pick a number between 1 and 30. That is who's going to do X, Y, or Z. This would be for fun things too. Who's going to take the random paper down to the office? Oh, random number generator. Oh, class number 2. You're going to go take this down to the office. And so it can kind of just make a smoother transition for things like that. Something else it can help with is getting and putting back supplies. So numbers that are divisible by 5, if you could clean up around you and collect people's supplies and put them back, that would be like your job. Numbers divisible by 3, this is what you're going to do. And so then it can kind of seamlessly help you identify students without hand picking them, which can take more time. The other thing which I enjoy doing is you can use numbers to partner students up for activities. And this saves so much time so you don't have to like individually write out students' names. You can just type on the board 1 and 7 are going to work together. 22 and 31 are going to work together. 17 and 3 are going to be partners. This is so helpful for saving time, and you can use it for every single class period because it's number situated versus student name situated. This I really like to use for my Google Sheets partner activities. If I'm randomly sorting the students, I will pair them up by numbers. Obviously, if you're worried about some behaviors, then you might need to double check a few numbers to make sure they're not with their friend, but it can be very quick to randomly sort by their class numbers. The third one that idea is I use my class numbers to help with missing work. So I already talked about how if I have a stack of papers, whatever numbers are not in there will tell me who is missing it. That is super helpful and it's very quick. The other thing that I do with missing work is on my board, I will often say, okay, class numbers 18, 21, and 4 all have this assignment missing and need to come see me, or have missing assignments and I need to talk to them. It can prevent you from calling out individual students. Now, as the year goes on, students will get to know who each other's numbers are, but still using the numbers kind of takes some of that attention off of that individual student versus just writing their name on the board and saying, come see me. Last little bonus tip, if you made it this far in the video, is to keep a binder in your classroom with all the class numbers on it. So I just typed them up at the beginning of the year, put them in sheet protectors, threw them in a binder, and put it out on a table. Students are guaranteed to forget their number. The more you use them, the more that they will remember them. So I use them on every quiz and test, and so then I found that that was often enough that they remembered them, and so then it made everything else I used them for a lot easier. But if you're going to use them seldomly, having those numbers documented in a binder prevents them from coming up to you, what's my number again? You looking it up and then telling them. You can say, oh, go look in the binder. It's right there for you. And then some of them will be embarrassed to look it up or to come ask you for it too. So having a student-driven, student autonomy way of finding that information out that they forgot is really helpful. Now, I hope you give it a try. This is an awesome thing to start in your classroom at the beginning of the year. Last little tip would be maybe not the first day if your students tend to shuffle around in between hours or teachers at the beginning of the year. So like our school, we have schedule changes up to the first Friday. So then I don't give out my student numbers until after that Friday. It is inevitable that you might get a student that adds in at the end of the or in the middle of the year. I usually just tack them on to the end, but the fewer that you have with that situation, pretty much the better. So save yourself some time, wait a week or two, then integrate this into your classroom, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you've used student numbers in your classroom for anything else, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear other unique ideas for how to use these even more. And if you give it a try, let me know. Maybe even reach out on Instagram at Algebra Elevated. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.